Hello, friends. Happy Monday, April 8th, 2024. It's UFC 300 Fight Week. So I figured let's hang out a little bit. Let's chat it up, you guys. Let's make it special, right? Because it is a special week in combat sports. Let's hang out. If you don't know, for some reason, and you're here on my personal channel, I'm Drake Riggs. You should know that if you are here, but if not, that is all right. Good to see you for the first time, or maybe the first time in a while. Let's chat for a little bit. Doesn't have to be MMA exclusive, as I never like it to fully be on my personal channel, but that is the big thing. Again, UFC 300. I think it would be fun. I think it's a cool idea. Potentially, we're going to try every day, let's hang out. Does that sound like a good idea? I want to try and hit this leading up to the big event, day by day. A lot of stuff's going to be happening each and every day, mostly towards the middle, of course. Wednesday to Fridays when most of the stuff happens. But yeah, so tomorrow, Sound and Pound over at MMA Mania with myself and Alex Behunin, of course, every Tuesday, same time as right now. And then I will do my best. I'll do my best. I don't want to fully promise, but I think it'd be a fun idea, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all same times here. Come on back. I don't think there should be any confliction. Let me check real quick. I just saw the schedule actually for the press conference. And what is it? Media Day. So, yeah, Media Day. Here's the thing, you guys. UFC 300, they're doing every single fighter on the card. That is not normally how it goes. But again, we're going big. UFC 300. So Media Day on Wednesday, starting 9 a.m. Pacific time, all the way up until about 5, because of course it's going to take a while. Probably have a break in between then. So we'll have some crossover in there. And then the press conference will be the day after. And it will also feature every single person on the card. And that will start at 4 to 6. They're giving it a 2-hour window, which, I mean, good luck. Good luck getting a question or every single person involved. That's gonna be interesting to see how that goes, for sure. But there will be no confliction here with streaming, is what I was getting at. But yeah, and if you guys would like to know the order of or where certain people are on Media Day on Wednesday, let me know. I'm not gonna just rattle that off right now because that would be a bit intense. But all right, let me put my phone up here just so that I don't have to keep going off screen for you. What is up, guys? Who is here? Who's hanging out today? I appreciate you. I'm trying to do, as you can see, I got the frame here. I'm trying to add a little bit of stuff. I was going to, I can still add in. I have some soundboard things. I know Ghost is always talking about those, and I've been too lazy to do anything about it. But I've been doing the Discord thing, so it's actually, they're great. I love them. So I need to do them on StreamYard here too. James, what is up, man? These are really big. Let me see if I can kind of adjust this real quick before I read that. James, how do I switch? Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. The bubble. More like that. The block. Let's go with that one. Let's go with that guy right there. All right, what do we got? James? Can you tweet again that you think Xiaonan will do better than people expect her to? Because last time you said that about Esparza and Lemos, Weili ran through them easy. So a good luck charm when you say that. Well, honestly, I still think, James, that they did do better than people expected them to. Lemos, maybe not so much, but Carla, yes. I feel like people thought Carla would get like wrecked even quicker or worse than that. That's how it seemed. So with that considered, I think she did still. I think I was still right about that. Lemos, people I think gave her much more of a chance Well, then Esparza, obviously, that's not saying much. And she did go the distance. She survived. So take that for what it's worth, but still not as great. Is the music still going too? I would like to. Let's do that the whole time. I don't want to listen to it myself, but just for the atmosphere. But I don't know if I feel as confident. You guys know I love Yan Xiaonan. I love Weili as well. I am super excited for that fight, and I was thinking about it this morning actually, and it was hitting me how like that fight's just completely getting overshadowed, and I didn't even process that Weili is either of them are fighting this week. It does not feel like the strawweight title is on the line this week. Crazy. So that is exciting. That's just UFC 300 for you. But in terms of Xiaonan, which I'm sure we'll talk more about this, I feel it's pretty where it should be in terms of expectations, I guess. Jimmy says, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see Ghost's game plan and film work for this fight with Weili. Yeah, no, of course. That is always a treat from Ghost. And I still got to catch up on, he sent me something the other day, so I need to check that out. Reassess, did I gain weight? Your cheeks are quite plump. No, it's just I'm letting the beard grow a little bit right now, as you can see. I promise that is what it is. I'm still about the same size as I've been mostly. I've been doing a little bit more workouts, but in different varieties. But no, it's just the beard, and I think I'm gonna get rid of it because of that, because I don't like that plumpness, as you're now pointing it out and making me self-conscious. So I've been enjoying the beard for a little bit, even though I still don't think it's too great. But you are right, it definitely makes my face look a little bit bigger. But we're waiting for the chin to get a little bit longer first, so that's kind of the thing here. Susan, I don't know how many days I got in me. Yeah, I mean business gonna pick up real quick. So, Jen, did you see Weili working with Merab a week ago? Good idea, bad idea because Merab threw her. I saw they worked together. I didn't see him throw her. That doesn't surprise me though. The guy is the machine for a reason. I think good idea, not a bad idea whatsoever. I mean, I'm not sure in terms of him just bullying her, if that was what happened, how much you can take away from that, unless it was more technical work, which I would assume and hope for. Anyways, I'm sure they taught each other a lot. Never a bad idea to train with fellow high quality, high level competitors, of course, and potentially a future champ, right? We'll see where that takes him. How am I going to hold 26 people on the press conference? How are they going to hold 26 people on the press conference? Are they going to do all at once or separately? Dude, I don't know the specifics of that, but I believe they're going to have everybody up there at once. I don't see how else they could, unless they did like rotate them. So maybe that would work good. I think that would be a better idea to get everyone involved, like I said. And what they have done something like that before. Did they do that for, what was it? Was it 279 when Hamzat and Holland were having their issues? They did like the rotation. Not a bad idea. That could be a good one. I think you're onto something there, Synchro. But yeah, everybody at once is insane. I can't imagine that. And then some people are just going to be like hanging out up there. So they should do it like early prelims, main card. Rotate them out after. Give them each 30 if they're doing a 2-hour window. Maybe 45, whatever the math can work out to there. Or maybe 30, and then an hour for the main card. I think something like that. Carla got ran over in striking and grappling. What are you talking about? Carla went for takedowns, got reversed and beat up. Yeah, I know. I don't understand this narrative, but she did better than Weili. James, I said that I think people thought she would do even worse. Even worse than that. That's what I'm saying is like we expected it to be even worse than that. It was really bad, but I think people thought even worse. I mean, unless you don't consider like a quicker finish, worse. Like if she would have got, if like everything that happened to her there happened in like 2 minutes rather than a round and was it like 2 minutes in the second round? I don't remember. I'm just thinking in terms of time and like if she went out there and got knocked out in 10 seconds, you know, that's what I'm thinking. Yes, I know it's not likely going to be very good for Jan, and we've talked about this a little bit, Pat. Plumpness. Do I like that word? It's a word. Bulking up big time, getting yoked. Do it the best I can, but unfortunately, I think this is it's only the beard in my face anyway, and it's still not that great of a beard. That's where we're at. Taking the protein shakes, Drake. I mean, if they're, if you know the good flavors, I'm all about them. I enjoy me a good protein shake for sure. There's Ghost. What is up, man? How are you doing? Can't stay long since I got work to do this week. Yes, that is true. But thanks for tuning in anyways, man. Throw some stuff at us whenever you'd like. Doesn't have to be, again, you guys, doesn't have to be this UFC related, UFC 300 related, MMA related, all that stuff. We're on my channel. We're in my house. Live Q&A, Hangout, the Hangout part emphasized. We can talk about whatever. WrestleMania was this past weekend, and I'll tell you what, I know you don't want to talk about that, but I actually had a swell old time. And Pat, if you're not busy, feel free to hop on in here with me. That would be nice. Always good chatting with you, pal. Correction, Drake, it's Whaley Fight Week, not Jan Jen on Fight Week. We know who the A side is of that fight is. Yes, did I say it was? I mean, I know you're being very specific there, but yes, no, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Even though, like, if you think about if Zhao Nan went out there and finished Whaley or dominated Whaley or anything like that, right? Put on just stellar performance to win the title, she automatically climbs up to, like, I don't want to say maybe right at Whaley level of popularity, marketability. Of course, that's, I don't think, just going to happen right away overnight. But she's going to be goddamn really close. She'd be really close, especially because of this card, all the eyeballs that are going to be on it, everything like that. So what I'm getting at is I don't think she's too far off from the potential of being an A-side herself. Of course, she's got to win this for that to happen. Otherwise, it isn't gonna. Otherwise, double otherwise there. Unless she has some kind of outside factors that boost in, of course. Gotta spread love to GSP. Of course, the real GOAT, the guy who is an actual decent human being. I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything about anybody else. I'm just saying GSP, great guy, great human, phenomenal fighter. Nothing not to like about the guy. Really. In my opinion. I love GSP though. Yes, always happy to spread the love about him. And I'm glad that people have not that it was ever too strong, but the notion of there even being a debate between him and Kamaru for GOAT has simmered down completely after Kamaru's 3-fight losing streak, which makes sense. Makes complete sense. But it was never a debate or a conversation. And I was saying that even right after Kamaru's last victory. But then Dana is insisting on otherwise. And it's kind of funny that he's like the last guy trying to push that in there. But I'm not going to go too deep down that rabbit hole. Why are my notifications messed up? I only get them for live chats. I think that's actually how they're supposed to be, Jin. 1 second. I don't think YouTube does. I don't think they do notifications just for regular videos. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm assuming that's what you mean. Let me see here. As Pat says, he can get on. All right, awesome. I will throw that at you in a second. Let me plugging in here. That's what I'm doing. What is the movie for movie? What is the movie for the movie? What is the movie for the movie club for Sound? I don't know why that was confusing me. I kind of want to join in on that. Hell yeah, Rio. Would love you to. So, what we do is what Alex and I do, movie club at the end of Sound and Pound every week. It is we each give each other a movie unless there's like one that we both haven't seen, or we've been doing it where it's kind of newer ones. So like we did our Oscar movie marathon. We did The Killer with Michael Fassbender a couple months ago. But typically when there's not something kind of special like that, then we will do ones for each other. So this week I got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then Alex has what did I give him? The Swimmers. I gave him The Swimmers from 2022. So we each have those movies. So I'm on a sequel. I'm in the middle of a trilogy right now. So maybe go with Alex's movie. Watch that tonight. Watch The Swimmers. It's a great one. I've seen it. Of course, the ones we give to each other we have seen already from the person giving. But the movie club is so much fun. I love talking about movies. So, and just movies in general, of course, all that good stuff. So we can talk about them here as well. But yes, that is what Alex's was for this week. And then I still have to catch up on Dawn. Gonna watch it tonight. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah. Hype, what is up? Hey man, how's it going? Aviator gang. Yeah, these are actually my brand new glasses. They're prescription, and they are transitions too. So they are actually both just regular prescriptions, and they also can work as sunglasses. I like them a lot. I think they look pretty good, right? It's something different, and I've always been an aviator guy, so I was like, let's do a combo deal. I like them. Yeah, and that was always kind of an annoying thing for me for pretty much my whole life, I guess. But you know, if you go outside, and then especially when you're as blind as I am, switching to sunglasses outside from your glasses doesn't really work because you just can't see anything at all then. So these are going to be perfect for me, and I am very excited to get to use them more. They arrived when I was gone in San Antonio last week, so I didn't get to fully use them there. But yes, hope Yan Jianan gets washed out because of all the trash he's been talking. What trash has he been talking, though, James? I mean, I know that you guys are more in tune with the Chinese social media. I'm forgetting the platform name. I'm forgetting what it is called. But I haven't really seen... Yan Jianan really never talks trash at all about anybody. I have not seen anything specifically here. Not much media from either of them. Very disappointing. I was trying to talk to Yan Jianan before this fight. I typically like to, catch up with her before the fights, but that did not work out. I had a really cool project in mind for this, you guys, and big bummer couldn't pull it off even close to... It never got off the ground. It's still just an idea. And there is 0 point in sharing it with you now. The only way that this idea will be able to live and come to fruition is for a rematch. So I will just leave you with that. And Ghost knows what my idea is, but never got off the ground at all. Stuck in the runway lane, if you will. But yeah, it would have been awesome. I was thinking about it the other night, and I was really sad. I was really bummed out that I could not get this project done, especially for UFC 300. Everything about it. It will be even better, I think, for a potential rematch. I think either way, whether that's down the line or if Xiaonan was to win and then they did that back in China, that would be perfect, actually. That would be perfect for this idea. And I'm going on too much about something I'm not going to spoil for you guys, so sorry, but sucks. It was a cool one. I think you would have really enjoyed it. Well, she's got to win Drake, and if there is one thing I learned from Ghost Scouting Reports is that Weili is good at executing and making her opponent look worse than they are. Oh, are you saying for the A side thing? Yes, I agree with that. But my guy, he's here.
Hey,
Patty, what is up?
nothing much, man. How about you?
Yeah, just chilling. I figured I'd hop on, try and make things special for UFC 300. I don't know if you saw the
Yeah,
beginning, but I'm gonna try and do every day, man.
nice. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I had an endoscopy this morning, so I am slightly off of anesthesia, but I'm good. I think.
What is
So
that? Please explain.
the whole
Oh,
thing. I don't think people want to hear about what
is
it
it
is. It's not.
similar to a colonoscopy?
It's just the stomach though, so it's like a little bit
Okay.
easier. But
That fucking pizza, man.
yeah, dude, that pizza, legitimately. I've been sick for 2 weeks.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I have the
Incredible.
day off work because they were like, "Oh, you might be like real, like sedated," and then, but I'm fine. Like, so
Oh,
that's good.
right.
Good stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. So this all worked out great then. So,
Yeah.
did you hear what I said off the top about the media day and the press conference coming?
No, I did not.
Everybody. So they're doing everybody.
Everybody.
Every single fighter.
26 fighters.
Yep. For both. So media day, obviously that's more manageable, right? It's going to start at 9 a.m. or
Right.
10 a.m. Pacific time, Vegas, right? In the Apex, all the normal stuff, which will go to like 5. So man, I feel kind of bad for those guys. Are going to be a lot of work. But then the
Yeah.
press conference, 2-hour window, and somebody asked me, sorry to whoever it was, but they're like, how are they going to do that? Like with 2 hours for 26 fighters, like they got to do a rotation. You can't have
Maybe.
everybody
I
up
mean,
there at
didn't they
once.
do 205? Didn't they do like 20 some fighters? Right? Like
Uh,
the who the f is that guy? The McGregor thing, right? They had 3 or 4 rows.
yeah, that's true. I still feel like it wasn't everybody. You know,
Yeah,
like,
it was. That's true. That's true. I don't think it. But I don't think it was everybody for that card, but it was. I think it was like a lot of title fights
right.
coming up, maybe. Like,
And they've
yeah,
done the summer one when Kiesa got punched by
yeah,
or Kevin Lee and that stuff, you know.
right. So yeah, I
But
mean, it'll be interesting. I don't feel like they're gonna get to everybody. I feel like they're gonna be fighters that just sit there and get no questions. Is really what.
right. Right.
Yeah.
That's why I was
So
thinking it'd be a better idea if they did do a rotation. I was thinking about like they did that for 279, right? When Hamzat and Holland were having their issues, they like improvised.
yeah.
Or I feel like there was even a Cerrone fight once where they did that. But if they did it like
Hmm.
30 minutes for the early prelims, 30 minutes for the ones after, and then give an hour to the main card, I think that's a perfect idea. That's
Yeah.
what I would do.
Yeah. No. And yeah. Well, and I also just looked up for 205. Yeah, it is only like 12 people. So yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. I have no idea how they're gonna do that.
Just
It's
chaos.
wild. Yeah, that's wild.
Oh man. All
That's
right.
yeah.
Well,
All right.
we'll talk specifically about things here as we're just improv and hanging out, but we got the people, which is the whole fuel of our little hangout here. But Jen says I want to join in for your video games, but they never show up. Oh, okay. Let's talk about that real quick. That you caught up on my adventures,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's because Drake gave up, rightfully so.
Yeah, there you go, Jen. It's because
Uh,
fucking game hates me.
it was real rough.
I still cannot believe it, dude. Like,
I would, yeah. That's a rage quit scenario if I've ever seen one.
uh,
That was
did you
utter garbage.
did you like my energy projection though of how I was admitting failure and it was working? That always happens.
Yeah.
But nope. Still nope.
No, not this time.
Oh my god.
It was rough. Yep.
I mean, I
Never.
think that really is only fitting that I waited about 15 or so years to play that game, and for the reason I wanted to play it is the reason I'm stopping
Yep.
playing. Oh, it's
It's pretty
just
amazing. It's pretty incredible.
unbelievable. But yeah, the video is really fun to watch, I think, if you guys want to, have a time there. But it was not fun to go through. The beginning was it started off pretty funny, in terms of the ridiculousness of what they did, but it gets real miserable real quick.
Yeah, if you
Um,
enjoyed Drake's Misery, it's a great time.
yes,
But
yes. Oh my god. Honestly, I think the best part though, actually, is like the fact that they gave Pablo as many lines when he gets stabbed as as he has. Do you remember that? like unique lines. Usually a game will
Yeah.
give like 3 or 4 in that kind of situation. He had them loaded, man. I wonder how many there are. They
Right.
never repeated.
Yeah. It's amazing. The whoever I want to meet the person who was like the storyboard or like the main producer who was like making those decisions. Like, well, I think we could just like I gotta know the thought process to all of that.
Seriously.
Uh,
That'd be a great interview. I should try and track that person down,
you should.
especially
It'd
after
be
this.
amazing.
Oh, okay. Synchro here says, do you think there'll be an open workout for this card? Have you seen this week's schedule for outside the cage stuff? So I only just got the press conference and media day lineup there right before going on here. Actually, I haven't seen anything about an open workout type situation. I think that would make plenty of sense, and like if there was a time for them to bring it back, because open workouts they don't really do anymore. It seems like very rare occasions, Pat. Like I don't even remember. I don't remember the last one even.
Um,
I feel like
I
maybe a
want.
Valentina, maybe Noche. I mean, I was there, but it wasn't for something
Yeah.
UFC set up. So I don't think
Um.
it was that one.
Yeah, I mean, they stopped doing them in favor of like they for a while they were doing like the weird Q&A things, right? Like
Right.
fan Q&As essentially. And now they're doing fan Q&As with people who aren't on the card usually.
Yeah.
Um but like I mean, yeah, they did UFC Noche how do you an open workout. I can't
Hmm.
that might have been the last one. So
Yeah.
September? I
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Huh. That is weird because I don't even like remember filming that or anything. I don't know if I was even at that. Like I was at the event, but I was at the fight week and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're if they're not officially dead, they're unofficially dead, and they're gonna be
Yes.
on their way out eventually because it just doesn't. It's not
Yeah.
doing anything. Like, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So not sure synchro, but if there is one, it will 100% be tomorrow because yeah, the stuff media day Wednesday, press conference, and then weigh-ins, the order there. So um yeah. And you can't do that one with everybody, that's for sure.
no, no, you cannot. That would be a
Yeah.
terrible idea.
All right. So Hype says I didn't know she talked a bit of trash talking about Yan Xiaonan. Yeah, nothing I've seen indicates that. James says you didn't see James Lynch's interview before 288. She said she's a better champion than Whaley because she's prettier. Just redacted. I did see it, and I feel like that's that's incorrectly taken out of the context. I'll have to
I
go
mean, that
back and
would.
check.
I'm gonna be honest. That would really like that brings my fandom for Yan up a level if that was her
Right, if
criticism.
that's the
It's like
criteria.
because I've not heard that before. I can't think of any time I've heard like a champion like say like I've heard like, oh, got better skills, could
Right.
better all around. After never be like, well, I'm prettier, so I'd be a better champion. It's like never heard that one before.
She did say something along those lines, though. He is right. It's just I don't think it's as specifically as he worded it here, but she did say something about yeah, she is better looking than Whaley. So,
Well, I mean,
but
we'll see what happens because yeah. But, that's an interesting decision to be like.
yeah.
That's why I should be a better champ. But well,
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt in the long game, obviously, but it
no,
is
I mean
what it
again,
is.
a new type of trash talk, which is hard to do in this game. So congrats to Jan for that trash talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, on that note, real quick, before I go to hype here, I want to ask you since I was talking about it, with the A side thing with Xiaonan, if
Mhm.
she wins, I think it really has to be kind of a very solid performance and more clear than like not unless it's a crazy fight or something. But Whaley, obviously the A side. That's what one of the guys was saying. No brainer there. But I think with all the factors here, UFC 300, all the eyeballs that brings, just China in general, Whaley isn't like a massive star. Still a big star, still an A side star. But Jan goes out there. Let's say she knocks her out, gets a finish or something, just has a dominant performance. Anything kind of like that, I don't know if it brings her right up to that same like A side level, but she's like real. She gets her super duper close. Right? That kind of business aspect of her winning.
So from a business standpoint, right? Like, and from a couple people I had talked to back when they renegotiated their deal with their television deal when Whaley won, right? Like a huge part is they just want a national champion that they can get behind, right? Like
Yeah.
that's part of the reason they're doing this fight. Is no matter what happens, you're going to have a Chinese national as the champion, so that helps with that side of things. But in terms of the A side and bringing that up to her level, like
Mm.
I think one thing that Jan would have an advantage of is if she goes out there and she knocks out Wei Li. Wei Li has lost as champion, right? Like
Right.
twice, and so that has hurt her draw a little bit. Not really, but like it's more of a hit where from a building her into a bigger star than she is now, it kind of brings a ceiling down and makes it harder for her to get through that ceiling because she's people who have turned in and who are like, oh, Whaley's unstoppable. She's dominant. Like they're like, well, we've seen her lost a couple times now. Like she might still win. It's great, but like it just automatically brings your star power down a certain
Yeah.
extent, right? I've told other people this, but like, if imagine if McGregor never lost. Imagine if McGregor had beaten Habib, all that. His superstar would be like out of control.
Yeah,
He's
you
still
think it's big now?
exactly. It would literally be like unreal levels. And so like, I mean, he still is the biggest draw and biggest star in the UFC and still best crossover star they have for sure. But he definitely has kind of a ceiling now since he's lost several times, right?
Right.
So if Jan wins, even though Jan has lost in the past, the whole thing about building stars is that it's capturing just the most casual viewers' attention, right? So people who probably have never watched Jan or maybe have like kind of heard her name but don't really know her background. And then if they start watching her and she never loses from that point, that's when you kind of build them. So I think it could be big. I think there's potential for Jan to be bigger, especially if he goes out there and knocks out Whaley. Like that's in some crazy fashion, or if it's a crazy fight. Like that could definitely do it.
Yeah. And of course, best case scenario for like anybody is like dominate them for a good 3.5 minutes and then finish them. Like that to me is a perfect fight, you know. So you're showing that.
Yeah, that's part. People still ask, and part of it's the superstar rub, but they're like, why is Holly Holm putting this blah blah blah? Like Holly Holm dismantled Ronda Rousey. It's like probably the best performance she could have ever put on. That's part of the reason why she still like draws
viewed the way she is. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was a decade ago now.
It was a decade ago. And she was in a Mountain Dew commercial like last year, I think. Last year, the year before. Like,
I don't know. I never saw this, so I don't remember it.
No, she was in like it had a bunch of athletes. She was like the only UFC fighter in it, and it was like she still has drawing power, man. It's why she's always headlining fight nights. Why she's on this card to help Kayla hopefully take the torch. Like, that's why.
Well, you just naturally segued that, Pat. Let's talk about that fight. Kayla versus Holly. I mean, I feel like this is not just redoing Ronda versus Holly again, because Kayla is not going to fight the same way or that same aggression. And she doesn't really even fight that much like Ronda, aside from just being a judoka. I'm trying not to think about the weight cut being a factor because I feel like that's never something too fair to do until you've seen it, right? So just give the person the benefit of the doubt. I mean, she's a fucking lifelong athlete, Olympian. Of course, didn't have to cut weight for that kind of thing, but I believe in her, the mentality and doing things properly. I think this has been blown out of proportion a little bit. Of course, it's still a fascinating element, but for the most part, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. She'll go in as we've seen her, maybe better, but from what we know, of course. So with that in mind, it's like, I feel like this is pretty much just going to come down to if she can get a hold of Holly, right? And then do her thing from there.
Yeah, I mean, because she made this weight cut, what, 2 years ago during the pandemic when they let her go fight in Titan FC? That was a 145, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a featherweight in Invicta.
Oh, okay. It was featherweight. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is bantamweight, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's what I missed. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is, right, is like, yeah, the weight cut is definitely a factor. I think you have to consider it. And I think really the consideration is, I think, in my opinion, it gives Holly a prime opportunity to KO Kayla. Like based
Yeah.
on just we've seen what happens when fighters try to go down like significantly below their weight class, or they've like the thing about Garbrandt. Well, Garbrandt already had a bad chin, but like if you look at multiple fighters who were fighting in lower weight classes and then moved up, right, to get into their natural weight class, their chin was much better because they're not as dehydrated, and it's just
Yeah.
naturally going to.
Whitaker,
So
big example.
yeah,
Massive
Whitaker's
example, actually.
yes, Whitaker's an insane example, and he still gets rocked every once in a while. But I mean, in welterweight, he was getting like
Chinned
destroyed.
up. He got
Um,
rocked by Court McGee as they showed the highlights this past
yeah,
weekend.
right. Like, so it's one of those things where I definitely feel like there's that opening, but I think you're right in that as long as the weight cut doesn't go poorly and she's not too drained for whatever reason, it's just a matter of can Holly keep Kayla off of her.
Mhm.
And I mean her takedown defense is very good, right? But
Yeah.
we've seen her, we have seen her getting taken down or fall into submission traps, and it's going to be interesting. Because I mean the other thing is Holly is a bigger girl for the weight class too,
Yeah.
just size wise. Like it's I think they're about the same size, like 6'1" each. So it's not
No, they're definitely not that tall.
no, or not. Yeah, or sorry,
They're like
5'8".
5'9".
Yeah, 5'8", 5'9". My bad. Still anesthesia, still wearing up.
Yep, yep.
Um, but I mean, they're about the same height and size, right? It's not like Kayla's
Yeah.
going in there when she rehydrates, she's going to be a much bigger girl. It's like,
Right.
so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I feel like if Kayla can get a hold of Holly and do what she does best, I feel like it's the odds are like negative 470 Harrison. I think that's probably
Oh,
accurate
wow.
considering
Okay.
that. Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
heavy favorite.
The thing too, I think, is on top of everything you said, like Holly has gotten much more comfortable playing in grappling positions over the years too. So like in this fight, she's gonna have to really. I'm trying to think of an example here. Maybe similar to like the Misha fight, where she was very clearly not wanting to do anything on the ground, which was smart and working. And the times that it did go to the ground, she was losing badly and
Yeah.
then did. So since then, I feel like she's, improved obviously on just her defensive and offensive grappling. But the point is she's gotten more comfortable with testing herself against pretty much, you name the opponent since then. We've seen the Rocky, the Ketlins,
Yeah.
whoever. So that is I think if best interest to utilize the distance as much as possible, which
Yes.
is typically what she should do. So, Hype asking favorite regional promotion to catch live. That's a good question. And he says,
Mm.
I've seen Patrick Brown. Cool to see him here. Yes, Pat is the man. So, which one do you like
Thank
watching the most, Pat? I'm Deep Jewels guy probably. At this point,
course.
love me some DJ. I don't
Yeah.
usually get around to too much of the US ones, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm a little biased. I'm more of an LFA guy because I got like that's where I started covering
Mhm.
MMA, and then they're fun, and for a long time, it's less so now, but for a long time, LFA was essentially the main feeder
Yeah,
league into the UFC. So it was kind of like catching like I saw
a preview.
yeah, I've seen multiple fighters in LFA who have then gone to the UFC, right? So it's
Mhm.
it's cool to do that. But LFA puts on good shows. And Ed Soros is a great dude in terms of just like being accommodating to everybody. Like
Yeah.
journalists, didn't matter what outlet you were from, super nice to everybody. Very yeah, he's he was fun to interview. So yeah, I mean LFA is probably my favorite. But yeah, it's hard to keep up with regional stuff nowadays because it's just there's so much
W
content saturation. It's
would you I think technically you can count Contender Series as a regional promotion,
oh yes,
right? Like
yeah, no, it's I've been away from the Fight Business podcast because of the sickness stuff for a little
Yeah.
bit, but yeah, a whole thing I'm going to cover is vertical integration and how that fits into the UFC and how like that. I mean, that's Contender Series is basically what they did. It's a feeder league. They created their
Yes,
own feeder league
million
by
percent.
taking yeah. So I mean, Contender Series is fine. It's just, it's just what it is.
It
I
is
don't
what
know.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just got that format. Like, take away the fact that there's a guarantee of UFC, then it totally is just what?
Yes. Oh, 100%. And like, and given that like Data will like just say some of the wildest things sometimes, it's just like, okay, like,
Mhm.
Brandon Lafayette is good enough to be here. We didn't
Oh.
try to finish the fight last 5 minutes, but this girl lost in a close fight. We're gonna go ahead and sign her. It's like, all right.
Never forget Danielle Wolf, boys.
Oh
Boys
my
and
god.
girls. Never
Danielle
forget.
Wolf is the biggest example of that. Oh my god. What a
I
fight.
still fucking cannot believe that. That'll never be real to me.
No,
Um,
I mean, I think the only time I've put a significant amount of money on UFC betting was when she got a contract, and then I happened to be in Vegas when that fight was announced, and I put down like I think thousands of dollars against Daniel because I was
oh
like, "There's
yeah.
no way." I was like, "This is the easiest." I didn't like the odds weren't great. I wasn't making a return, but I was like, "This is." You know what? I'm willing to risk this because it's Danielle Wolf. Like I'm gonna
Oh,
go
I
ahead and
love
do that.
that.
Yeah.
Ton Lee was also on Contender Series. He was on The Ultimate Fighter, didn't get
Yep.
signed after that, and then I believe he did have a Contender Series fight, right? And then went
Thought
to
so. Yeah.
one, became the champ, and yeah, has lost the belt. But I still can't believe they didn't bring him actually into the UFC after, you know, always been a very good guy, of course. But yeah.
Yeah.
Rio asking, will Lemos get her rematch with Whaley? Lemos said before the Dern fight that she will win the belt in 2024. I don't know about that. Time is definitely not in her favor there. That just isn't going to happen in that regard.
Yeah.
Will she get her rematch? I think it is possible at some point. When you look at, man, the strawweight division very quickly went from being the best in the world to really kind of struggling at the moment, and just contenders kind of disappearing or clear interesting matchups. So I definitely think if she kind of, I mean, two away maximum. Of course, her fight with Whaley wasn't super competitive, but again, you look at the landscape and depending who she beats in a time frame from like a full year, like right now to middle of 2025, I think it's possible. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I'm looking. I mean, the X the X factor to
Depends
me
on a
is
lot of
always
things.
Tatiana.
Tatiana, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right? Like, and I mean, again, you got Andrade sitting around doing Andrade things. Who knows what she's gonna fight?
She's more likely to get a rematch than Lemos for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah. And I mean, with Rodriguez and Andrade fighting, right? Who
Mm,
knows? Yeah,
yeah,
Naroba too. Like, I feel like it's gonna take Lemos a bit because she beat Dern, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like because Whaley beat her so decisively, it wasn't
yeah,
even close. Like, and that's I feel like they're gonna make her work for a rematch. Like,
yeah.
that would be my
Which they
guess.
should, yeah.
Yeah,
So it depends on a lot of things. You're right, especially I think Tatiana is really the big wild card, which I could see them
yes,
fighting if if that was supposed to happen. Rebook
right.
that one, depending just what kind of the UFC is thinking. So yeah, I
Right.
wouldn't bank on a Lemos rematch anytime soon. Like I said, maybe late 2020. That's best case. Best case for
Yeah.
her is like, yeah, late 2025. But okay, now these are some fun questions. Synchro asking, can an endoscopy fix a knee?
Nope. No, it cannot.
Not quite.
Uh, they stick a uh, they stick a tube in your stomach and take out like part of it to biopsy and send off for stuff. Can't do anything to a knee.
Oh,
You're thinking of a
ortho,
orthoscopy,
yeah, whatever it is.
something like that. It's completely different thing.
Just clarifying. Good job there, Synchro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jin asking opinion on Pokemon Bank disappearing last year. So correct me if I'm wrong, Pat. You might know this better than me, but Pokemon Bank was a thing that it was where you could put all your Pokemon from every single game ever, right? They made that thing where you could,
I Yes, it was like I think it was for 3DS and
I
like
think that's when it started.
yeah, it was
Um,
basically like a cloud storage service for your
for
Pokemon.
yeah, which you could put through
Yeah,
every game, which
which I mean was cool, but I mean, I'm not surprised as someone who consults with a like does a lot of day job consulting for like Salesforce and cloud service type things. Like, dude, cloud storage is ridiculously expensive and only getting more expensive.
Mhm.
So that doesn't shock me that they shut it down because like the amount of people, the amount of clients I've seen who have basically been like, we can't afford this because we can't pay for all this data, right?
Oh,
If because how much did Pokemon Bank cost? Was it free
I think it
or was
might
it
have
like
been like $5. It was real cheap.
okay?
Um,
So
yeah.
I mean, but like the problem is like cloud storage in general is just very, very expensive. No, it was no cost.
Oh, okay, it was
Uh,
free?
well, it was no cost to the discontinuation of a Nintendo eShop. All right, I don't know. I don't.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess it
Maybe
became free at
King can
one
let us
point.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let us know what it is, but yeah. I mean, like it. I'm not surprised because
Especially
that
with
data.
Pokemon. Holy shit.
Yes, right. Like, because you're not just talking about like one of every different type. You're talking about shinies. You're talking about like so many. Like,
Fuck.
that would have added up real quick, and then they just have to pay for it month after month to hold the cloud storage. Like, I'm not shocked it shut down. Like,
I love the idea though, of course, but
yeah,
my but in a perfect world, they're just all in fucking one game.
yeah,
That's also a
that would
thing.
be better. Just
Uh,
give me old PS1. Give me like 7 CDs of Pokemon, just like or like 4 cartridges that you have to put in, and then
right.
that would be ideal. Uh,
Uh, I think I told you, but my absolute dream Pokemon game growing up was one that had all the regions in it and everything that you could just like go to, like a huge like Zelda type open world, Breath of the Wild style.
Oh yeah, no, I mean with Legends, right? Our
Yeah.
curious, like that was awesome, right? Because you had all those different region things, but like if they could do that, and they sort of tried to do it with Scarlet and Violet, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't translate the same. Like if you could do it where it was truly open world and for all the regions, like it would be
Man.
better if it was one region and then it opened up like Gold and Silver. That was the greatest,
Yes.
like the greatest part about Gold and Silver is when you thought you were done with the game, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I can just go
There's
back to the original game. The like this is awesome.
and like
Yeah, no,
nobody
that
knew that back then, right?
no, no, yeah, you just like went to this waterfall thing. You're like, oh, all right, must be like little secret passages. Like, oh, by the way, here's the
There's
entire
Kanto.
Johto region. Yeah, or Kanto. Yeah, here's the entire Kanto region. That was awesome. But yeah, like something like
Yes.
that would be ideal. I agree. It'd be an awesome game. They could do it too. I don't think they ever will, but they could.
No, especially as they're just making, these ones bigger. Like fucking, I don't remember the name of the Scarlet and Violet one, but like that region is fucking huge, dude.
It's redonkulous. Yeah.
it's, it's like
It,
it's probably Johto and Kanto combined 4 times over.
yeah.
It's very large, but great game though, very good.
Mhm.
Synchro says, "Why is X making people who post external links being hidden? Because they want you to stay on X, and Twitter.
Yep.
Don't leave the page." So that's in the algorithm. Good fun stuff. um, does Pat know the lunacy of what Musk is doing to X? Of course he does.
Oh yeah.
We've all been seeing it. But is there new developments? Is that what he's hinting at? I've seen it. Elon's been talking about stuff. He pops up every now and then. I don't really read him though.
Yeah, he says a lot of things. He doesn't do a lot of things. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's
Yeah.
like, who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do?
Yeah.
So
Good troll.
yeah.
I've also seen Jan talk about Whaley, how Whaley doesn't deserve the Monster sponsorship or Whaley's Prada sponsorship. Got that off Billy. Well, have not seen that. Can't speak to it. That's very, if true, jealous kind of petty silliness. And I mean, it do. How does it work with like the sponsors for the UFC and the fighters? Right? Is it like just everybody? I don't want to say everyone gets a tiny bit, but like in that regard, because
Um,
Monster's a UFC sponsor too, right? So
right. So they get like the promotional guideline pay, right, for outfitting, whatever that is, like the same type
yeah,
of weird thing they have with Reebok. But then I think with that, they also get a like they can get like a minor monster thing. And then there's the whole what's his name, who Dominic Cruz blasted and hated.
Hans Molenkamp.
Hans, yes. like is like then working through him, you can get individual sponsorships with Monster, or like basically if you're a big enough star or like you're attracting the right audience or what have you, you can work to get sponsorships through the UFC sponsors. So like I know Dustin Poirier just signed a Bud Light sponsorship, like and they have people in the Modelo commercials and that stuff. Like it's just yeah, but it basically is there's nothing guaranteed right off the bat for Monster. It's like you have to go talk to them, work with Hans, and then through him.
He's been a little quiet since then, hasn't he? Kind of funny how that works.
Yep. Probably realized he didn't want to deal with losing. Well, because I mean, like I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen vendor partners in like different worlds and industries do crazy things. Like just, you know, I work a lot in startups. Startups are just the stuff that goes on there is insane.
Right.
But like Monster is big enough, right? That like I could easily see if they're getting negative attention, they just like put Hans on a different account or they move it. Like, and he like probably is like, I don't want that. So he just, you know,
just go over here.
Just being quiet and like more of a, you know, probably what he should have been from the get go. More, less power hungry with what he was doing.
Because he was pretty obvious with it.
It was very blatant. Which again, I've seen plenty times before, but like with a company as big as Monster and now how big UFC is, like that's not gonna fly. They're not gonna deal with that.
Right. Ghost says hot take here, but I don't care about Whaley's superstar level. The only thing that matters is Whaley's fight on April 13th. And I say that as someone who works for her team. Yes, of course, Ghost, of course. And we're more talking about, we were talking about Xiaonan's potential there, but looking forward to it. What happens if Weili beats Xiaonan like the Lemos fight, which is most likely? Does it not elevate her status? That's a good question, actually, James. I don't know. I mean, I think it does, Pat, but like, I don't know if it would that much. I feel like she kind of needs a dance partner to take her to that next level again. Like, think about Joanna, for example, right?
Yeah.
And even Rose, even though she lost to those. I don't know. I wouldn't say it'll do too much, honestly, unless she like destroys her quickly, maybe.
I mean, it's like I feel like Weili is in that tough position where she's lost as champ, but she's also still a pretty dominant top of the heap champ, where like she's expected to win this fight, right? She's heavily favored. And so the only way it really adds to her superstardom is if she can go out there, have a highlight reel knockout or finish, and then she continues to build off of that, right? Like she gives it in really fired up, you know, post-fight speech or something, or like, you know, but like for her, it's much harder because you got to now just keep stringing together big highlight performances. With Jan, she's in the position of where Grasso was against Valentina, right? Everybody expected Valentina to kind of like beat Grasso. Grasso wins, and then that elevates Grasso to a huge level, even though like Valentina was arguably winning part of that fight until the takedown and all of that, right? I forget what the scorecards were, but it was a competitive fight. It wasn't like Grasso was beating the brakes off of Valentina. And then you had the rematch.
It was 2-1, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was close, but like, again, like what really is like, oh, like the underdog has won. Now, like there's a, you know, that instantly catapults her into a new limelight. And so I think it needs a big, like if she goes out there, Weili goes out there and beats Jan like she did Lemos, like it's going to be like, cool, like status quo, right? Like, and people aren't going to, it won't be the highlight reel knockout that like starts to bump you up when you're at the level Weili is.
Yeah. I think that's perfectly said. So we will see, but what is your favorite starter Pokemon in Gen 1 and Gen 2? Ooh. Fan of speedrunning, says Jen. I do want to hop back on the Nuzlocke here soon. I actually did one. I did and lost one with my buddy a month or so ago, but I didn't stream that one. Gen 1 and 2. So we're working with Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, and then Gen 2 we got Totodile, a Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. So man, some of the strongest six right there, Pat.
Yeah,
like, geez, that's a tough one.
It is. I mean, Gen 1, I mean, I have to go with, you know, the nostalgia of like getting Pokemon Blue and going
Mhm.
with I'm a Squirtle boy. You know, I love
Okay,
Squirtle.
okay.
Squirtle's my dude. You bubbling. Look at just a little happy turtle. Looks like a small
Yeah,
bald man just shooting bubbles.
totally.
Like that's my guy.
Master Roshi is what he reminded me of.
Yes, yes, very much so. And he looked amazing. And it's the fact that it wasn't like even water gun to start out with, it was bubble was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
this is
know. You're like,
sweet.
okay.
Um, so huge fan of Squirtle. The next one is tough. But you know, it- I'm gonna stick with Totodile because it's a giant. You get a
All right.
giant crocodile. I mean, but I mean that one's a much harder. That's a much
I
harder
love
sell
all
because
three
it's
of those ones.
yeah. All three of those ones are very very good. You know what? No, I take that back. Chikorita evolves. I like Chikorita, but then her evolved forms are a little like okay,
Yeah. A little
like
weak too defensively.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, but
it is I mean, yeah, so I think Typhlosion is really awesome. Just, as a final,
yes,
he's one of my favorite
yeah,
finals,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Totodile has always been a lean every time I do Gen 2 as well, so that's the easy one for me. But picking from Gen 1 is a lot harder. Like, when I think about which one I would most often go with, I can't really say. I feel like it might have been Bulbasaur, but of course, we have had the most time with these, so it's like I'd love to see like my life stats on how many times I picked which one, but I can't specifically say in terms of with Totodile. I know I've played with starting him a whole bunch. Um,
yeah,
and again, it's one of those where you're like, okay, I'm expecting to need to swim, right?
right,
And he can also
yeah,
cut,
yeah.
and you kind of think of it that way as how useful he was throughout the actual game. So with the
Yeah,
other
and
ones,
then
though,
Gen 1, it was always like Charmander was the hard path, right? Because you're fighting
yeah,
Brock first. So like Charmander's like, all right,
exactly,
gotta figure that out. With Bulbasaur or Squirtle, it's like, cool, they're fine.
yeah,
Uh
yeah.
uh
I,
but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man.
I
It's
think I think I will say Charmander probably my favorite, but again, I can't say that like I picked him the most because of that. But yeah, getting to Charizard is always like fucking OP as shit for sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he can fly. Yeah, Charizard's my favorite. Although like Charizard's the most useful, actually favorite one to use, but like I did love that for no reason whatsoever. Squirtle went from like a vampire with War Turtle, looking like a little vampire,
Yeah.
to then just having
A
giant
tank.
cannons. Yeah, just tank cannons on his back. Uh, but you know,
Seriously.
yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, for some reason he's got like the fluff, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like what? Like he's got like he literally just looks like Squirtle, and then they made him a little vampire-y with a weird
Yeah.
fluff thing and war turtle. He just looks I like he gets bite, and that's like basically
I
the only it's like,
know.
all right.
That's the perk there.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty tight. It's
Uh,
pretty tight.
I saw someone say this on Weibo via translation, of course, but they said Whaley can show up at her worst and still beat the best version of Xiaonan. Xiaonan isn't as good as she thinks she is. Well, I'm not sure I'd go that far.
Yeah.
But of course, I think we can also say that probably most fighters aren't as good as they think they are either. That's a part of the game. Um, Sinker said, I didn't really want to talk about this, but I forgot the PFL took away the elbows for Linton Vassell. Yeah, I know Linton is only good at top mounted ground and pound with the elbows. Everything else is not good, but that's why I want him to win. Yeah, that definitely did not help him.
I mean, I still can't understand the no elbow rule because like I believe
It's
it
so
was
dumb, dude.
implemented. Like I understand, I thought they implemented it at first because they were doing the multiple fights in one night, right? And so
Right.
it's like they don't want cuts to like basically be need stitches where they're ready to go, but like you can't start a
Yeah.
fight that way. Commissions, perfect, fine. That's gone. That's gone now, and now you have a perfect example of Linton Vassell, like a guy, and he's trying to find a way to punch the guy, and he, right, like they got that finish, but like it was just like if he'd been able to throw elbows, it would have just been done. But instead, it just looked awkward and stupid. I don't know why they don't have elbows.
It's the dumbest fucking thing, dude. Yeah, like I don't even Blagoy Ivanov, he was a guy who was a part of that
Yeah,
at the very beginning and when it made sense, but like because they're fighting again in a time span that's enough to heal from a cut, you know?
right. Yeah, like I wholeheartedly understood why they did it when they were doing the two fights in one night and like
Yeah.
back to back quick. Sure, but that's
I mean, that's
gone.
always been a thing. Ryzen, Pride,
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense, but it's gone. So let's. let's add them back in, please, please.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
I think it's just some kind of weird stubbornness at this point.
Oh, I can't wait till like I can't wait until like Patricio or somebody goes over like like who's the biggest Bellator guy now in PFL probably who's in the
In
tournament.
terms of name?
Yeah.
Oh, in the tournaments?
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Um, Patricki's in the lightweight one.
Okay.
In featherweight, I'm not sure who. I'd have to look at featherweight here.
Well, whoever it is, I guess regardless, whoever it is, like I can't wait for a big name Bellator guy to go over and get DQ'd because he's just throwing elbows out of like autopilot in some mode,
Well,
right?
it's
Like,
yeah, it's funny because I was talking to Liz Sunday, or was it Friday after the fight? The days are all fucking confusing, but she was saying like there was a moment where she had to like consciously make that effort where she was in a spot. It was like this would have been perfect for him, and like Juliana like
yeah,
noticed it as well. She's like, oh, I could do this back, and like it's just dumb. The point is
yeah,
it's just dumb.
yeah. It's just gotta go. It's really gotta go. Yeah, they got
But
Adam Borix, a couple people. Yeah, I mean,
the fact
either
too
way.
that like they're keeping it between the Bellator shows is going to confuse those people even more, like you're saying, right? Like,
Yep.
it's going to happen,
Yes.
and it's going to
It's
be at a terrible time. It's going to be very PFL-y.
yeah. It's gonna be a classic PFL scenario of like, why? Why did you do this?
Oh
100%. That's
man,
what's gonna happen.
seriously. Susan says Abu Dhabi had open workouts. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I do remember that now. Actually, thinking about Volkanovski, that does make sense. At
Yeah.
least sounds familiar. So yeah, they're very selective with them. Again, I think if we see them tomorrow, I will not be shocked whatsoever. If
Right.
some of the fighters want to do them on their own whim, would not surprise me either. You just have to find kind of the spot for that. But
And I feel like
um,
International Fight Week will probably still have them because that's part of like the Fight Week stuff. Like,
yeah,
because they've taken out, man, they took out all the awesome stuff and now they have, I mean, it's fine. It's just pretty much a normal Fight Week. But man,
yeah,
2015 was the last like awesome.
hurrah!
Yeah, do you remember what they used to do for that stuff? Like International Fight Week, they used to have like a 5K. They would have special events where fighters would like go out and you could buy tickets to like go to different events where fighters would be around. They had all of the
Yeah,
amateur fight stuff. Like they had like a boxing tournament
it
like that
was
would go on.
wild.
It was awesome. And now not so much, but
The glory days are gone.
yeah, now you got to pay
I,
to go into the UFC X, which it used to just be free. Like it's like, all right,
how much is it?
it's like 20 or 30 bucks or something, like or like 50 for like
Jeez.
a special pass. Yeah, that's like it used to just be like walk up downtown Vegas, and because I did go to that in like 2019 or something, and like yeah, it was cool, but like it was yeah, I would not. I don't know. It is what it
Right.
is. It's just yeah.
I will always maintain, Pat, that the 2010s were the best era of MMA, at least for my fandom, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I would agree.
Sinker says, "Can endoscopy fix the knee?" Was a reference to Friday Night Lights when Bobby Miles said, "Can MRI fix the knee?" So there we go. Went over our
Sorry,
heads.
I'm rusty on my Friday Night Lights, which is terrible since I live right by the high school where it was filmed. So that's my bad.
The anesthesia.
Yeah, it's anesthesia.
Jin says he's been called out for saying I ignore sports watching in Abu Dhabi for really good cards, but do people not realize that most fight promotions are mostly money laundering schemes? This is the perfect
I
thing
don't know
to
what
say
you're
about
talking
Pat
about,
Singer.
Chin. I don't know what you're talking about. No promotion has ever been a money laundering scheme,
There
especially
are no
not.
current promotions out there that are
Yeah,
money laundering.
yeah. No, I
Oh my
mean,
god.
yeah. It's. I mean, with the UFC, it's not. I mean, it is just sports washing, is what it is. Which is pretty. I mean, it's pretty blatant at this point.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Uh, other promotions doing money laundering, I don't. I don't know.
Man,
I
I have such an incredible story that I have to tell you. Maybe around the wedding,
Yeah,
or when we
there
have some time.
yeah,
That's an
yeah.
incredible
No, I
story
mean,
I've
there are
learned
stories
recently.
I've heard. I mean, well, there was like, for example, there was that story about the businessman and his son who got arrested for embezzling funds from his construction company and given Ryzen like 260 whatever billion yen.
Right.
And so like there's stuff like that that pops up. It's like that's odd. Like, huh, that's weird.
A little bit strange.
Yeah, but like in terms of actually, look, Jen, in terms of actually anything you can prove, nothing right now. But
Oh, I mean, I have one that's concrete that I can never be shared, but
yeah,
publicly.
yeah.
So I have to
Oh
tell you
yeah, I
this
mean, there's
eventually.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
amazing though, like just oh, so good. Um,
yeah,
Hype says second gen Pokemon is the best ever. I mean, it's great time. It's definitely
yeah.
more for the nostalgia for me. It's not the best anymore for sure. I think Gen 3 overall is probably for me number one, and it probably has been since then, which is partly nostalgia too, but
Gen
just a
3 is
lot of great
Sapphire
games.
and
Yeah, Ruby and
yeah,
Sapphire.
yeah, yeah. That was really
It's
good.
just fucking
Yeah,
solid.
it is.
Um, Jen says, not sure why speedrunners like the water starters. I believe it's probably because of surf and really, again, the most versatility in terms of effectiveness towards a lot of gym leaders, right? Like you were
Yes,
saying,
yeah,
starting out, take out Brock pretty quick. Then what you go to Misty, at least it's kind of combating itself there. And I mean, it's pretty easy to find, grass Pokemon along the way, if you're
right.
talking about Kanto specifically. And just really anywhere with grass. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I
so
mean, like, because the first three are Brock, Misty, and then
Lieutenant Surge is 3, I
yeah.
think.
So Surge is like a risky one if you're, but by that time you're
You
already
should
like you said, you
be.
have like grass or other things. You can pick up rock Pokemon with going through whatchamacallit, the underground path to get
Yeah, the
to.
caves, yeah.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why it's just especially for speedrunners, you could just run through those gyms. So that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yes, for sure. And then again, it's like you go to Gen 3 right there and saying Mudkip, who is water ground.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what fucked me actually
No
on my
kidding.
I did an Emerald Nuzlocke with my buddy a couple months ago, and I chose I think I chose no, was it? Yeah, I think I chose Torchic.
Hmm.
And he did Mudkip, and he's like, "Dude, you're gonna be fucked once you get to Watson, or
Yeah.
whatever." By that point, is like, "Oh, let's try," because Watson can't hurt Mudkip, because
Yeah.
of the electricity. I'm like, "Yeah, good point."
Yeah, yeah, no, I would love to see a speed run with somebody doing yellow version. I
Ooh,
remember
that
playing
would
yellow
be
and being like
interesting.
that first gym was rough with
Dude,
yellow
that was
because
my first game. I got Pokemon Yellow at
oh,
5 years old with the Game Boy that was the yellow one too, like the combo
nice.
pack.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I had Pikachu was actually my first Pokemon ever.
Well, there you go, man.
But yeah, that was I remember I died a lot for sure
Yeah.
to start out
Oh yeah.
against Brock, but then yeah, you get to Misty and you're good from there. Um
Yes.
Synchros, I don't think Pat knows, but I'm the biggest Land of Self fan on Sound and Pound. Yes, he's probably one of the few. I mean, great guy. First time really sitting down and chatting with him. Great guy. It was a phenomenal time sitting with him. But yeah, there's not many big swarmers out there, if you want to call them whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, the biggest fan of the man from Milton Keynes, but I understand his striking is a 1 out of 10. His wrestling is a 1.5 out of 10, but his ground and pound is a 12, baby. It's true. It really is true.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very accurate description of Vasil. Yeah. And yeah, it is. And that's why it's infuriating that PFL does not allow elbows.
Oh man,
Because
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yep.
sure he'll have lots of thoughts to share about that going into his next fight. Probably against Moldavsky because that's just
Yeah.
how they do things, but
Yeah.
all right,
No.
man.
Yeah.
Well, that is perfect timing though. Right over the hour mark. No more comments coming in here, you guys. That was a fun little time though. Fun little cozy hour to kick off the Monday of UFC 300 Fight Week. Still hasn't quite set in. I think until we actually see some things happening, I'll feel like it really is UFC 300. But looking forward to it, Pat. So
Yeah, no, I am. I will probably still not do Fight Business podcast this week because there's just like it will get buried and I'm
yeah,
still recovering. So it's like, all right,
and it'll
but
probably be best afterwards anyway. You can talk about some of those things.
yeah, I mean the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is I don't know if you saw pictures or heard about this, but at the WWE World, right at WrestleMania,
Yeah.
they had a whole section that was UFC stuff.
Oh, I
And
didn't
so
see
I'm
that.
assuming like based the same thing they did with when Raw was in Anaheim and UFC 298 was in Anaheim, and they had like as part of the like UFC like event stuff they do, right? Where you go to the parking lot or the area and they've got a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff set up. They had like the Raw announce desk.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
a,
no, I do remember that actually. Yeah.
yeah, I'm assuming at UFC X or no, it's not UFC X because that's International Fight Week. There they will, but I'm assuming for 300 they'll have a bunch of like stuff. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have like the like WWE. I don't know if anybody is watching this is a WrestleMania fan and hasn't watched yet, but spoilers. But if spoilers now, so tune out.
Yep. There
But
you go.
I would imagine that like I wouldn't be shocked if like Cody shows up,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
or like Rock, right? The TKO board member would make a
Yeah.
lot of sense. So I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting to see that cross promotional side. I'm convinced we're gonna get to a point where it's going to be like they're gonna have a
Very
weekend
normal.
long thing, yeah, of just UFC plus.
It's like, why not? Why wouldn't you though?
Right.
Really?
Oh yeah, they want more crossover fans. That's what they're gonna try and keep working to. It's gonna be a whole thing, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that'll be interesting.
on that note, you guys, I'll wrap it up, close it down. Then Pat and I can talk about wrestling off the air. We don't ruin it for you because I do want to talk about that. But tomorrow, Sound and Pound at the MMA Mania YouTube channel. So I won't be live over here. We'll do that again on Wednesday. At least that will be the plan. But yeah, catch it with me and Alex Behunin tomorrow. MMAmania.com, 12 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be talking more in depth about the card, of course. So thanks again, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow. Later.